Federal criminal charges are among the most serious legal issues a person can face in the United States. When someone is charged with a federal crime, they're entering a different legal system than state courts, with its own rules, procedures, and often harsher penalties. More than 90% of individuals prosecuted in federal court are convicted, making proper legal representation essential if you're facing these charges. Federal crimes include offenses like mail fraud, bank robbery, kidnapping, identity theft, and various forms of financial crimes. Unlike state charges, federal cases are prosecuted by U.S. attorneys who typically have more resources at their disposal and often pursue cases only when they believe they have strong evidence. The federal court system operates differently from state courts, with unique procedural rules and sentencing guidelines that can result in longer prison terms. Federal criminal charges represent a distinct category within the American legal system, carrying their own processes, penalties, and jurisdictions separate from state-level offenses. These charges are prosecuted by the U.S. government through federal agencies and courts. Federal criminal charges differ significantly from state charges in several key ways. While state charges are prosecuted under state laws and handled in state courts, federal charges involve violations of U.S. federal laws and are processed through the federal court system. Federal cases typically involve more resources for investigation and prosecution. The U.S. Attorney, as the prosecutor, works with federal agencies to build cases that often take longer to develop but are more thoroughly prepared than state cases. Federal sentencing guidelines are generally stricter than state penalties. Federal prison sentences tend to be longer with limited parole options. Federal convictions also carry a minimum of 85% time served before release consideration. Additionally, federal courts operate under different procedural rules and have broader jurisdictional reach across state lines. Federal crimes encompass a wide range of offenses outlined in the United States Code. Drug trafficking across state lines or international borders falls under federal jurisdiction, often investigated by the DEA. White-collar crimes constitute a major category of federal offenses, including securities fraud, tax evasion, investigated by the IRS, mail and wire fraud, healthcare fraud. Embezzlement cybercrimes have become increasingly prominent federal cases, including identity theft and child pornography distribution networks. Other significant federal crimes include terrorism, bank robbery, kidnapping, immigration violations, and civil rights violations. These cases typically involve multiple states or impact national interests. Federal law enforcement operates through specialized agencies with distinct jurisdictions. The FBI serves as the primary investigative agency for most federal crimes, with broad authority across numerous offense categories. Other key agencies include DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration, Narcotics Trafficking, ATF, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, Weapons Violations, IRS Criminal Investigation Division, Financial Crimes, U.S. Secret Service, Counterfeiting, Financial Fraud. The Department of Justice oversees federal prosecutions through U.S. attorneys' offices in 94 federal judicial districts nationwide. Federal agencies often collaborate with local police departments through task forces for cases with overlapping jurisdiction. Federal jurisdiction typically applies when crimes cross state lines, involve federal property, or affect interstate commerce. We see this jurisdiction extend to crimes committed on federal land or against federal employees. Federal investigations often begin when agencies like the FBI or DEA suspect violations of federal law. These investigations can take months or even years to complete. Federal agents gather evidence through surveillance, witness interviews, and document reviews. Unlike state cases, federal investigators typically build substantial evidence before making arrests. They work closely with prosecutors at the Department of Justice to ensure cases are strong enough to pursue. When agents have enough evidence, they may seek an arrest warrant from a federal judge. In some cases, suspects receive a summons to appear in court instead of being arrested. Federal arrests often involve coordinated efforts between multiple agencies. The resources devoted to federal investigations typically exceed those in state cases. Federal criminal convictions carry serious and long-lasting consequences that extend far beyond the courtroom. The federal justice system imposes stricter penalties than many state systems, creating significant challenges for those convicted. The United States Sentencing Commission establishes federal sentencing guidelines that judges use when determining punishment. These guidelines create a sentencing range based on both the offense and the defendant's criminal history. Many federal crimes carry mandatory minimum sentences, which require judges to impose at least a specified minimum prison term. Federal sentences are typically longer than state sentences for similar crimes. For example, drug possession charges at the federal level often result in sentences 3 to 5 times longer than state equivalents. White-collar crimes like tax fraud can lead to substantial prison time. Even nonviolent federal offenses may result in years of incarceration. The guidelines distinguish between felonies and misdemeanors. Felonies typically carry sentences exceeding 1 year, while misdemeanors result in shorter terms. Federal convictions often include severe financial penalties. Fines for federal offenses can range from thousands to millions of dollars depending on the crime. For instance, financial crimes like counterfeiting or tax fraud may carry fines equal to twice the amount gained through illegal activity. The court may order restitution payments to victims who suffered financial losses. These payments are mandatory and not dischargeable through bankruptcy. Asset forfeiture allows the government to seize property connected to criminal activity. This includes money and financial accounts, vehicles and real estate business assets, personal property, for crimes involving federal property or interstate commerce. Additional financial penalties may apply. These financial consequences can devastate personal finances and family stability for years after a conviction. Selecting the right federal criminal defense attorney is crucial. We recommend looking for attorneys with specific experience in federal court. Unlike state court attorneys, federal defense lawyers understand the complex federal rules, sentencing guidelines, and procedural differences. Consider these factors when choosing: experience with federal cases similar to yours, track record of successful outcomes, resources to investigate and build your defense communication style that makes you comfortable. Many federal criminal defense attorneys offer a free consultation to discuss your case. During this meeting, ask about their experience with your specific type of charge and their approach to defense strategies. Don't hesitate to ask about their trial experience. While most federal cases end in plea deals, a good trial attorney improves your negotiating position. Federal investigations move quickly, and statements made without legal counsel present can significantly damage your case. We advise exercising your right to remain silent and requesting an attorney immediately. Your rights include Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination, right to legal representation during questioning, right to know the charges against you, protection against unlawful searches and seizures. A Phoenix criminal defense attorney with federal experience will ensure these rights are protected throughout the process. They'll review all evidence for constitutional violations and fight to exclude improperly obtained evidence. Your attorney should explain every step of the process and help you make informed decisions about your case. Federal sentencing guidelines are complex, and understanding potential penalties is essential when considering plea offers. Call the Phoenix Criminal Lawyer Criminal Law Team at 602-600-0447 to get expert-level legal help with your case.